Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth. I'm just here at work, about to start my day seeing patients, and I thought I would share some thoughts before then. I'm really excited because I got to be thinking about a Bible story that I loved as a kid, which in Daniel, about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I don't know if you remember how that all started, but they weren't doing what the king wanted them to do, and they wouldn't bow down and worship these other gods. And so they found themselves in trouble. And so I'm going to start to read that for you. We'll pick up there in Daniel 3:16. So it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. And that would be the matter of not bowing down to these other gods. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you've set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, who was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude toward them changed. He ordered the furnace heated up 7 times hotter than usual, and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and throw them into the blazing furnace. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace was so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire? They replied, Certainly, your majesty. He said, Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair on their head singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. I got to be thinking about it, and sometimes we don't know why we're in a fire, and it seems like we ask ourselves, why are we even here? If maybe you've been doing all the right things in your life, you feel like you've been trying your best to live a good life, and then trouble comes along. Certainly with this virus, you had no control of this coming. And so you ask, why am I in this fire? These men in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were only trying to do the right thing. And here they found themselves in trouble. And so it kind of stands to reason, why didn't God save them from the fire? Why did they have to go through that? And what we know is that our ways are not God's ways. We don't know why we have to go through certain things. But what we do know is that God never leaves us. We are never alone. He is with us in the fire that we find ourselves in. And I feel that in my role, seeing patients. I know there's such an element of risk, but I'm not in this alone. And what I would say is I feel so protected by God that even if I'm not, even if I've tested positive for COVID, I still trust that God is in control, that he will protect me, guide me, that his plans for me are as real as they've ever been. I'm not afraid. So what I want to just leave you with is just this peace and this hope to trust the Lord, that even though you're in a fire, and maybe it's not even just COVID, maybe there were situations going on in your life before that feel like a fire, just remember you are not alone. God is in control, and he will be faithful to you. Thank you, and have a great day.